Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Wednesday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer, he is Hill. Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, Taylor Sharp on the ones and twos. Getting through the work week, Mr. Hill, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's hump day. I'm feeling good about everything. And I don't know why everyone's so worried about Auburn. They stink, guys, so you don't have to worry so much. You can't jinx this game, man. They stink. We'll be fine.
How good are we?
We're good, but we don't stink, so I think we got a great chance.
All right, Jeremy's pick is in. Don't have to listen to the last segment on Friday. Jeremy's already made his selection. JD Pichell with us from On 3 Sports in 15 minutes, talking some national college football as well as some SEC stuff. Have our SEC power rankings in hour number 2. Lane Kiffin is complaining a little bit. We'll talk about that at the end of hour number 1. But we start with the Fighting Tigers of LSU and an announcement that was made today by Brian Kelly that Garrett Dellinger is going to miss some time now with a broken hand. If you're just jumping in the car after a meeting or lunch or whatever and are not familiar, so Dellinger broke his hand in the game against New Mexico, it appears, and so he's not very likely not to play in this game. The words that Brian Kelly used were the window is tight, so it doesn't appear that it's going to be a significantly long-term absence, but that's a guy who they dubbed as a starting center, wanted him to be that guy, struggled with some snaps. They really liked the way he moved on the inside and thought he was doing a good job blocking. The snaps were just a significant issue. Cost LSU a possession down there in the first one for Florida State, but he'd been playing, by all accounts, pretty well. How big a loss is that?
It's a huge loss, and I think up the middle, moving him to guard, I think you saw that boost in the run game that you really wanted to see for this football team to really, have the success that we thought they could possibly have. And so now you got to move some things around, which is never good when you're going on the road and in a hostile environment. I know, Jordan Ayers going to be, ruckus. They're going to be cheering on that football team to get this SEC season started out in the right way. And so you would only think that, getting another guy that really hasn't played much of that position all year can't be great news for the Tigers. So I'm going to be intrigued and see kind of who they kind of put in that position. I think you probably go with Bradford at right guard. Turner's going to be at center, but who kind of takes over that left guard spot? So I'm going to be intrigued to see who they trot out there on Saturday.
Well, you don't have to be intrigued because Brian Kelly said it today.
Oh,
they're going to
awesome.
move Miles Frazier to left guard. So right now it looks to me that your offensive line from left to right is going to be Will Campbell at left tackle, Miles Frazier at left guard, Charles Turner at center, Anthony Bradford at right guard, and Emory Jones out there at right tackle. These are all guys over the last 6 weeks that we've talked about as options, and it's just a matter of can Brad Davis make it work. A good offensive line has to have depth because you're simply not going to be able to play 12 games and not have guys go down. I use this example every single time an offensive lineman goes down and there's issues and there's worries about what's going to happen because I cover this team very closely, and the offensive line was incredible. In 2011, that team that ran the table until they got to New Orleans, it was 13-0 for the first time in school history, had a wonderful first-team offensive line. Chris Falk was your left tackle. Will Blackwell was an All-American at left guard. P.J. Lonergan was a great center. You had Josh Williford at right guard, and you had a right tackle in Alex Hurst. Really, really good up front. But all 5 guys missed time. Falk went down in Starkville. P.J. didn't make the trip to Knoxville. There were some bumps and bruises for Alex Hurst along the way, but Greg Shaw at tackle was ready to go, and T-Bob was ready in any of the interior 3 spots. And P.J. Lonergan didn't go to Knoxville, and I told you when we were talking about the 2011 team 2 weeks ago, they went on a 99-yard drive and didn't complete a pass with T-Bob playing center. So you got to have depth. You've got to have guys you can count on the offensive front because guys are going to get hurt. Dellinger's been playing very well. But Miles Frazier, you're moving over. Anthony Bradford, after some time away, you're going to be in the lineup. And 2 freshman tackles got to get up and go. And Charles Turner, you're in there at center. And here we go. We got to go to the Plains and make it work.
Yeah, you definitely have to. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity, for those guys, who probably didn't think they're going to play much. Obviously, Frazier probably thought he lost that starting spot. But it's always next man up. You got to be ready to play. And this is going to be a great, atmosphere for those guys to get some experience in a hostile environment and really see if they can get those guys going. If you go back and watch that Penn State game, they're just running the ball down Auburn's throat. They got their run game going and made it very, very easier for Clifford at the quarterback position. So I think looking at this offensive line with Bradford and Emery on the right side, you figure those guys should, be able to open up some holes. So I'm excited to see how they match up with this Auburn defensive line. Normally when you think of Auburn, you think of dominant defensive line play. I'm not going to go there this year with those guys, so I would hope that they can be able to get a run game going and be able to protect Daniels.
No, you don't have to go there in terms of dominant defensive line play with this Auburn team. They had trouble stopping Missouri at times, and you mentioned Penn State. Penn State ran for 245 yards on this team. So you've got to be able to run the football and protect Auburn. They've got some pass rushers, and we'll talk about some of those guys as the week progresses, and then that's something that you may have to worry about with LSU at the tackle spots and dealing with some really good players on the edge, but that's something we'll get to a little bit later. Brian Harsin was also on the SEC teleconference this morning, said TJ Finley was out there with those guys yesterday. We'll see how he goes today and what it looks like. Finley's been nursing an injury. Calzada's out for the year, so all signs are pointing towards Robbie Ashford to play in this game. I wouldn't rule Finley out as of Wednesday, but it's trending that way.
Yeah, I think for LSU, you kind of got a big taste of that week one when you go against Jordan Travis and just dealing with the quarterback who can use his legs and really make you miss. And I thought as the season kind of went on, they've just done a lot better job tackling in open field and not missing all those tackles. And so you feel great about that matchup. I just think as a thrower of the football, they don't really have a guy in that quarterback room that really kind of puts the fear of God in you. And so you just got to be assignment sound this week. You got to not let him escape the pocket. They're going to be trying to do some quarterback run stuff. He's going to pull it down. And you just got to get that guy on the ground. So if it was me, I kind of wish TJ was in there. But I think Ashford, if you can stop him from using his legs, I think it creates an avenue for you to have a lot of success on defense.
Harsin's quote today from the teleconference, so there's plenty of things we can be better at. Duh. But there's some positive things we took away from the game as well. Just even in the week of preparation leading into it, I think we did what we needed to do early on, and we'll see what it looks like going into this week. But we know both models in terms of the quarterbacks. We've seen them now in 4 games, so there's a chance for us to see what we want to do this week and see what fits best for the LSU game. I don't know that necessarily – well, he knows more than me, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know more than Brian Harsin knows about what they're doing in practice and what the medical staff does. But I do think in watching the two quarterbacks, there is a pretty distinct difference in them. TJ Finley is a big, strong man who plays from the pocket more often than not, and when he runs, it's kind of short yardage stuff that they're trying to get him to fall forward. Robbie Ashford is a two-sport athlete from Oregon who played – well, he's from Alabama, but he went to Oregon to start. And he played baseball. I was actually a member of the team that LSU beat in Paul Maneri's last regional up in Eugene. He didn't play in that regional. He was with the spring football team, but he was on that team for a period of time. He's just a really good athlete. Is he a very good quarterback? Got my doubts about that, but he does run around a little bit, throws a lot on the run, and he's a little bit more mobile and athletic. So when Harsin's talking about the two models, like they are different players, and it's just a matter of what they're going to do offensively to tailor things towards whatever dynamic they've got out there.
Yeah, they definitely are. And I think Finley, you don't really fear his legs. I think we all know he kind of has a big time arm, but it's really if he can get time and the weapons they have on the outside, which is why I kind of rather Finley in there because, I feel great about the defensive backs matching up with their receivers and the D-line's going to get after the pass. And he's not going to be able to use his legs to extend plays and run for some big third downs. And so I think TJ kind of matches up a lot better with this defense. Anytime there's a quarterback who uses their legs, we kind of saw Bo Nix Manziel last year in the show he kind of put on. And so and we kind of saw what Jordan Travis did in week 1. And so I think for LSU, I think you match up well with TJ Finley a lot more. But if Ashford's out there, I think you definitely got to pay a lot more attention to him in the quarterback run game, which they're going to do. Anytime we got to respect that. They're faking it to Bigsby. He's pulling it out. They're going to be doing a ton of that if he's in there. So that's just another aspect you have to prepare for if you're this LSU defense. But, looking at Matt House, I think he'll have those guys in position to make plays and not something I'm too worried about.
No. And the other injury update from the Auburn point of things, and this is only significant because we understand the way that LSU's made up. And honestly, the development that went on last week with the passing game and the way that Jaden Daniels sat in the pocket and threw the football. One of Auburn's starting quarterbacks, Donovan Campbell, the second is expected to play on Saturday. He did not play in the game against Missouri, but he's been a starter for them. One place you don't necessarily want to be banged up against LSU is in your secondary. So LSU's got some guys that run around pretty good out there on the edge. So Donovan Kaufman, a starter at cornerback for Auburn who has been out for a couple of weeks, appears that he's going to be ready to go. But LSU will take Kayshon Boutte back this week, and I don't know that there's any defensive backfield in the conference that worries me as an LSU fan. I'm not ready to say LSU's going to shred everybody, but I feel LSU's still got a pretty significant advantage when it comes to their wide receivers on Auburn's DBs.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great match, and I think getting Kayshawn back is going to be huge. That's something I'm desperate. I want to see so bad. I want to see him and Daniels just get that rapport at the level it should be. To me, Kayshawn is definitely a top 3, top 5 receiver in the country right now, and you look at his numbers, it's a lot of people. I'm looking at the Bayou chat week in and week out, and they're like, oh, we don't care about Kayshawn. Like, no, dude, he's really, really talented. We just need to get him the ball, and he's going to go out there and make plays. And so that's something I'll be paying close attention to. And I think, like you said before, the Auburn receivers are just not that great. Like, as LSU, you've seen guys. To me, that Florida State receiving core is a lot better than those guys are. So you've seen better receiving cores. I think Mississippi State's is definitely better too with Rod Thomas and the crew. So I just feel like they match up well with those guys. And I think you go out there and execute a game plan. You don't turn it over. You're going to give yourself a really great chance to win this football game.
So I'm rolling through a bunch of notes here. I did not look at the Bayou chat. We're out on Kayshawn now in the Bayou chat. That's the thing that's going on.
Yeah,
that's good because we're out on Kayshawn this year. Last year, Stingley, we don't need him. Jamar Chase quit on the team the year before that. Guess if we don't win every game, the best player on the team is just going to get ripped to shreds by the fan base. That's a healthy tradition. We'll put that in. It never rains in Tiger Stadium. Golden Band from Tigerland. Pregame and touchdown, the alma mater, and hating your best player. We'll throw that in the mix. That's very very healthy way to go about your fanhood. Who am I to preach? Do whatever you got to do. Our opening hour each and every Wednesday brought to you by Sunshine Quality Solutions, your Louisiana John Deere dealer. Got one on Airline Highway. Check out the website, sunequip.com. You can browse their inventory, order parts, or even get some tips for self-repair. Sunshine Quality Solutions, your Louisiana John Deere dealer located on Airline Highway. Bringing you the opening hour each and every Wednesday. JT Pichell with us next. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
LWCC elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana. This month's champion of Louisiana is Metamore.
Yeah, Metamore, an institute dedicated to the study and treatment of metabolic disease and obesity, has been celebrated by the LWCC as a champion of Louisiana. Located in Baton Rouge on the campus of Pennington Biomedical, Metamore is a one-of-a-kind facility joining science, clinical research, and a variety of treatment modalities under a single roof to create a world-class institute.
Look, we know that obesity is an issue here in the state of Louisiana, and Metamore is doing its part to help with obesity. And it started here in Louisiana, but last year, 6,200 patients came through Metamore. It's become a global movement over there at Pennington Biomedical. Metamore continuing to do awesome stuff here in our great state. If you know somebody or some entity or some nonprofit doing something great in our state here of Louisiana, go to lwcc.com/Louisiana Loyal. Nominate them to be a champion of Louisiana so we can tell their story right here on Hunt and Hill. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
Do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
NFL is back. Our coverage starts Sunday at 10 a.m. with Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday with Jimmy Ott, immediately followed by the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders at noon, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Going out to the phone lines now. Welcome in JD Pichell of On 3 Sports. Joins us every week here on Wednesdays. JD, how are you, sir?
I'm doing phenomenal, gentlemen. How are we doing on this Hard Hat Wednesday?
We're doing very well. Love to hear it. Bigger win, given the current state of things. Tennessee beating Florida on its home field, or the Aggies going up to Arlington and handling Arkansas?
Just from a program standpoint, I think Tennessee's win was bigger just because of all the history around the Florida rivalry and 16 of the last 17. I mean, you'd heard it all week long. And so for Tennessee to get a win like that, I mean, they have a chance to really build upon that. And I talked about it a little bit on our show this week, but that win in itself is huge. But for what it could mean for the future if they keep winning, like that could be a turning point for this Tennessee program and kind of springboards them forward. So, huge win, obviously, for Texas A&M as well, but I don't think they're out of the woods just yet. Tennessee really got a monkey off their back, so to speak.
I think the Vols are a threat to Georgia at this point.
I mean, it's hard to say they're not, honestly, with how good that offense is looking and Hooker is dealing. Still have reservations about the defense. Like, they made Anthony Richardson, who has tons of talent, they made him look really, really good. And some of that could be Anthony Richardson, some of that could be just what Tennessee was doing defensively. It's going to come out in the wash, but if Brock Bowers gets a hold of that defense that was on the field on Saturday, it could be some issues for the Vols. But it's hard to say they're not a threat at this point in time. I'm excited to see how they progress with a few more weeks under their belt.
Going into this season, I'd never thought I would see Ole Miss ranked as high as 14 this early in the season. But, getting a look at that team and that roster, how do you feel about that football team, and how do you think they match up with Kentucky?
I think it really does come down to what they can do defensively against Kentucky. They get Chris Rodriguez back, does Kentucky, their go-to running back. And so teams have played Kentucky aggressively because of what they don't have on the offensive line. And so if Kentucky can kind of take advantage of that secondary from Ole Miss, it could get interesting. But a lot of it does obviously still ride with the quarterback. And, while they're ranked highly and undefeated, I mean, I feel like Ole Miss still is yet to impress us in terms of how clean of a game they've played yet. I mean, they've had a lot of games where it's like, you're struggling with Tulsa. What's going on there? I don't know if Kentucky's going to bring the same caliber of talent as Tulsa did. So how they stack up, I think Kentucky ultimately wins just because of what they have schematically, and Will Levis and getting Chris Rodriguez back. But Ole Miss, I think, is a program that's sort of an interesting limbo, especially with what they have at quarterback. So I'm still a Jackson Dart apologist, but they're going to have they're going to have their work cut out for them this week.
He's on Twitter at JD Pichell, Pickell. Joins us every Wednesday here on Hunt and Hill. You mentioned that I'm not sure that the Aggies are out of the woods just yet. They head to Starkville this week. Your thoughts on that ball game?
It feels very trappy, doesn't it? It feels very, very trappy because they've had two just super emotional wins after the emotional loss to App State. Like, I worry about where this team is at from a psyche standpoint, because it felt like when they lost to App State, I mean, they had a different quarterback, obviously, but it felt like maybe they were just a tad comfortable. And so now, after beating a top 10 team in Arkansas, do you sort of start to get back to that comfortable state of mind and start to believe that App State was sort of a hiccup and you are who you think you are with Max Johnson at quarterback? I'm fascinated by this matchup. I actually think Mississippi State's going to win the game. I think that number that they have on it right now is correct and favoring Tennessee by 2. Will Rogers is a dog. We saw him against LSU come out slinging. So I'm not totally sold on A&M just yet, and I think Mississippi State kind of brings them back down to earth this week.
JD, this is a little bit of a teaser for an hour and 10 minutes from now when we do our weekly power rankings, but I'm thoroughly unimpressed with A&M, and I've been one of the guys on the station that has said they've got potential in that program. Then they lose Aniyah Smith with a broken leg. Like, how are they going to score? Is it just going to be A-Chain and that's it for the season, or are they going to figure out some way to move the ball down the field?
No, that's just it. Like, without Aniyah Smith, you need Evan Stewart to throw up quick, fast, in a hurry. You become much more one-dimensional with Devon A-Chain. I think you got to find a way to cut Max Johnson loose a little bit. I mean, he's been good enough to win, and they look so much more competent offensively. But I think you said it perfectly. I don't know how they put the ball in the end zone. Mississippi State's not going to be lighting the world on fire defensively by any stretch of the imagination. But for them to reach the expectations that I think a lot of people have held them to, they're going to have to find a way to stretch the field more. And so now losing your best wide receiver doesn't do you any favors. But no, I'm with you. I mean, I had, I guess, let's say we in group my publication into it, but I had A&M going like 8-4 this year. We just got slaughtered for it. But now, I mean, looking at what they have offensively, they've got so many pieces. They have so much potential, like you said, but I don't see how they score enough points to get to that 9-10 win mark.
I think everyone following the SEC kind of marked their calendars for October 8th, that big-time matchup between Alabama and Texas A&M, especially with all the back and forth between the head coaches. Do you think this is potentially a trap spot for Alabama going up to Arkansas?
Man, I think it could be, just because of what Arkansas presents from a matchup standpoint. Now, Arkansas's got their own issues in the secondary, and if Bryce Young and company can kind of get dialed in there from a chemistry standpoint, it could be over in a hurry. But I think Arkansas losing last week to A&M makes them even more dangerous than if they were undefeated, because now you've got an Arkansas team that's kind of tasted their own blood a little bit. Their backs against the wall. Games at home. Alabama hasn't been, as dominant on the road. We saw that against Texas. So I think it's definitely a trappy game of sorts. Now, I think Alabama still wins, but I think that they give them all they can handle and then some. Like, it might take a field goal, similar to how it did at Texas for Alabama. But yeah, I'm excited. They haven't seen anyone like KJ Jefferson and what he can do with his legs, how they're going to call that with, having an extra hat when they do the quarterback design runs, an extra blocker, I should say. So they're going to give him some issues. I think that -17 that Alabama's getting right now just feels extremely, extremely ambitious. So, I think Arkansas is dangerous for sure.
Is it part of that you think that 17.5 is ambitious? The fact that just not quite feeling Alabama what they've been the last 4, 5, 6, 10 years?
Sorry, say that again. 4, 5,
I feel
6, 10 years?
that number being as big, I just feel like there's a lot of people looking around going, is Alabama quite what they've been? Like, who are they supposed to throw the ball to? Is their defense as dominant as it has been? Like, is there any of that that's true?
I think so. I mean, I think a lot of it is kind of getting everybody on the same page, because you look at the receiver group, and I talked to somebody that covers Alabama for us yesterday, Clint Lamb. He does an awesome job. We talked a little bit about, like, hey, why is there not this explosive presence on the outside? And it's not really so much, I don't think, a matter of speed or like they can't win on the outside. Like, Bryce Young's just used to throwing to Jamison Williams, and Jamison Williams is a 4-2, 4-3 guy. They don't have a 4-2, 4-3 guy on the field for them right now. Now, when Tyler Harrell gets back, that could change the game, but it does sort of feel like there's some things there that we've come to expect from Alabama as their MO, and they just don't have in spades quite as much this year. They haven't proven it quite as much this year. I don't know what the situation was last year in terms of getting protection set, but Bryce Young is, to my understanding, setting the protections for Alabama in the pre-snap. And we've seen a couple of times he's set those the wrong way, or just from a personnel standpoint, they haven't been able to keep them as clean as they probably want to. So, there's a little bit of an underwhelming nature, but I will say that it feels like Alabama's always playing their best ball in November. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case this year, but it's definitely a slow build right now for this team.
Let me check the schedule and see when we play Alabama. Yep, November, every single year. Awesome. That's great. J.D. Pichell, our guest here from On3 Sports. All right, let's point our attention to LSU and Auburn this weekend. Crazy one on the plains at Jordan-Hare against Missouri.
Oh, boy.
Your thoughts on the entire situation there, rotating quarterbacks, Brian Harson's future. What's going on with Auburn before we get to LSU?
I knew we were going to talk about this today, and I was just thinking about the different ways to go about this. I think the best way to sum it up is that Auburn and Brian Harsin are just in such a toxic spot. Brian Harson's somewhere where he's not wanted. Auburn is just continuing to chop their own legs off out from under them by having a coach they're not going to have there long term. It sounds unorthodox, but if you know he's not the guy, why are you waiting to cut ties? You're wasting everybody's time. And so I think it's just a matter of, it could also be a matter of days before the wheels come off this thing for certain. But, I know Bruce Feldman had reported out there before the Missouri game even started, hey, if Auburn loses today, they're probably going to cut ties with him tomorrow. And so a fumble through the back of the end zone allowed him to keep his job another week. But it feels so childish right now that they're going about it the way they are. And, it's a bad situation from top to bottom at Auburn, and I don't love this position for them against LSU.
Well, let's see how we think that matchup goes. LSU's kind of gotten a get-well game there with Southern, and then beat Mississippi State, another get-well against a bad New Mexico team. Confidence is pretty high in Baton Rouge right now, thanks to feasting on some teams that can't compete with you. What do you think it looks like on the plains this Saturday?
It could get ugly. I hate to say it, but it might get that way. You can only hear so much chatter about your head coach getting fired before it starts to impact the locker room. And credit to him and his program, because it seems like they've been bought in for the most part, found a way to win, or I guess was gifted a couple times a win last week against Missouri. But I just think LSU is a whole other beast, even from a talent standpoint. Who knows how quick LSU starts, but once they're up and at them, it's going to be a problem for Auburn. So I think LSU covers 8.5. I think LSU wins. I think we're on the phone this time next week talking about who Auburn's next head coach is going to be.
Well, let's do it next week then. It's the Hard Count with J.D. Pichell on the On3 YouTube channel. Thanks for your time, man. Enjoy the football this weekend.
Appreciate y'all. Have a great Saturday.
Sounds good. J.D. Pichell from On3. That's where I want to go with our next segment. The week progresses every week towards the game. You get into kind of a rhythm. And the X's and O's and the matchup stuff more so starts on Thursday than it does today. When we come back, I want to talk about, I'll give it from a fan perspective and Jeremy from a player's perspective on what LSU's walking into from an environment standpoint on Saturday. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Hold down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's right, free bets if you don't hit your first bet. Just sign up with promo code 1045ESPN.
FanDuel's got all your favorite bets, money line, point spreads, player props, but you can also combine them. You can get a same-game parlay to get a bigger payout. And the best part about FanDuel, when you win, you get paid fast. And it's all in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Sign up today with the promo code 1045ESPN for your no-sweat first bet. Promo code 1045ESPN. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager. Only refund issues and non-withdrawable free bets. Expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're somebody who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
They said I was small. Weak. Said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like. Again and again and again. Mom got me the right care. The right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them. The right card, the right care.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. Brian Kelly updates LSU's preparation for Auburn, and we'll head to London to get updates on the Saints and Vikings. Join us for Wednesday's AFR, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Thanks to JD Pichell of 013 Sports for jumping aboard. I want to remind you our opening hour each and every Wednesday brought to you by Sunshine Quality Solutions, your Louisiana John Deere dealer. Got new equipment, used equipment, parts, service. You can do it all with Sunshine Quality Solutions. JD Pichell mentioned something there about the toxicity at Auburn. It's well known by everybody now. We understand what happened in the offseason. We understand the situation that they're in right now with their football team, with what happened against Penn State, and what could have very well happened with a loss to Missouri on their home field last week, a team that had been absolutely embarrassed by Kansas State. Less about what the outcome of Brian Harson's future is going to be, whether he has 10 more years left at Auburn or 4 more days, whatever the case may be. That's not the point of this discussion. What is LSU walking into here? And I've seen this a number of times. Going to every game LSU played except for 2 from 2006 to 2014, seeing the league the way I have and following it as closely as I have now for the time that I have, you've seen great situations, programs at highs, programs at lows, coaches on the hot seat. This is commonplace. Do the players know that that's going on? I realize you weren't necessarily in that spot with Les. It happened after you were gone twice, but do the players know what's going on above their heads?
I wouldn't say in great detail, but they definitely hear the rumblings. I mean, you got family members that got to tell you stuff. You got students on campus. You're going to class. You're eating lunch with people. It's unavoidable. So when people say, "Oh, we're not paying attention to the outside noise,"
block out the noise.
It's impossible. There's no way, unless you go in a hole and hide yourself and cut your phone off, there's no way you can run from the noise. So they're very aware of what's going on, and obviously they know how they're playing on the field. They know they're not blowing people out by 50 and just being dominant football players. And so you can see the tea leaves. And so I think anytime that happens, this is why I always say you got a team going through a situation like this, you want to start fast because all those seeds, all those doubts, all those little thoughts in their head start creeping back in. And then before you know it, they're probably quitting in the second half. And so, yeah, they definitely understand what's going on.
Now, we can bring this back to literally just 1 year ago where there was a coach in the league who had gone on the road, lost his second game of the season in embarrassing fashion, and came home. And everyone knew this thing was over. That was LSU last year. After Kentucky throttled LSU, and you came back home to play Florida. And that environment, while it was not full, was pretty good. Juxtapose that against one of my famous examples that I've used all the time, when you know it's over, 2011 Ole Miss. This is the game where Mettenberger kneeled on kneeled with 8 minutes left or whatever it was. I don't even remember. But it was an absolute whitewashing, and it was dead, and the team quit because they knew their coach was going to get fired. Now, what makes those two environments different? It's still LSU welcoming Florida. The fans don't like Florida. They know that's a rivalry game. Ole Miss welcoming LSU. They don't like LSU. That's a rivalry game. What made one environment really good and one environment terrible? Well, that's pretty obvious. It's the way the team played. Mm-hmm. And you got Ty Davis-Price ripping off touchdowns from all over the field. You got a pick six from Jay Ward or Dwight McLaughlin right after halftime going into the student section. You're creating energy with what you do. Throw it back to the Ole Miss LSU game in 2011, and first play of the game, Ole Miss throws a pick six to Ron Brooks, and it's 50-something to nothing before you can blink. Now, Auburn in that instance is nowhere near the talent level that Ole Miss was, and it was because there was none. And certainly LSU here is not the same as they were in 2011. So to expect LSU to go out there and win 50-something to nothing because Auburn's going to quit is not necessarily important. What is important, I think, in this game in terms of an environment standpoint, because Auburn fans know Brian Harson's getting fired. There's no hope for this regime. They don't like this regime. The boosters don't like it. They don't like the product on the field. It's toxic in Auburn. However, you only get 8 of these. LSU's coming to town. They don't seem like a world beater. We just won a game. We're going to show up for a night game at Auburn and pull against LSU. And if Auburn's able to get ahead 17-3 and take it to you and hit Bixby runs for a couple of 40-yarders and you let them get into it, well, then they're going to be fired up and give you a pretty good environment. You go out there and score 21 points in the first 20 minutes of game time and get up 21-0, that whole place will start booing. The students will start filing out to go to the bar. It will empty because they will give up. Yeah. The first 15, 20 minutes of game time in this game, I think, dictates the entire environment.
No, 100%. I think everyone kind of in the Plains right now kind of know what's going on. They know the temperature of their program right now, and it's just not very healthy. And it's just, if you're Auburn and you got to battle with Alabama, it's just so important to beat Alabama every single year, and you struggling to beat Missouri to start the season. It's very hard as a fan base to get excited for that type of play. And obviously you think your coach probably won't even make it through the season. You don't love the quarterback play. It's just not great football. And that's what they think they should have every single year there. And so you get an LSU team who's come off a season below 500 and a season 500 before that. You start losing to that team. The Boo Birds are going to come out, and they're going to come out quick. And so I think if you're LSU, like you said, it's so important how you start this football game, and getting out to that slow start against Mississippi State and Florida State, you got to avoid that. If you can start fast, create those seeds of doubt in everyone's head, it's going to create a lot better environment, especially when you got some freshman offensive linemen and some new guys moving around in different positions. You got to start fast. You don't want that place to be ruckus, because I've been there before. It gets extremely loud, and they're definitely going to call some false start penalties, so you got to start fast in that game.
Yeah, no doubt. And to even bring up another example of when everyone knew it was over and what kind of environment shows up. Well, Les Miles, 2015, A&M, everybody thought, okay, it's over. Mm-hmm. So this was the send-off for Les. They filled the stadium up. You were playing someone in A&M. You go out there and get a huge win late. They carry Les off the field. Everybody claps and cheers. And before the game, he doffs his hat, and everybody cheers for calling Baton Rouge. And it was a send-off. But Les Miles had accomplished a ton and won a championship and had been there for a decade as the face of the program. Brian Harsin has none of that. Brian Harsin has no goodwill built up. He's got nothing. And it's not just the fact that they last week struggled to beat an atrocious Missouri team and really shouldn't have won the game. They were twice Missouri should have won it, and they gave it away. It's not just that. It's not just that Penn State went down there and beat the brakes off them from start to finish. It's not just that. They struggled with San Jose State. This is not like, oh, you had a terrible 4 hours, or it's every week you stink. Like, and so while it's this year 2, there's still going to be people in Baton Rouge in year 2 that are saying, okay, it's still a little bit early. We're building towards something. There's nothing that anyone's clinging to over there at Auburn that things are going well or that there's hope to move forward. And that's the 90,000 that flood the stadium on Saturday. So they're two different, in your point to the players side of it, like they're going to be fired up to play because they've been practicing for months and months and months, and they put on the Auburn uniform and they get fired up and the music starts playing and the Eagle comes down the field and they're ready to go. The fans, though, no. So it's a little different.
Yeah, it's a lot different. I think for Auburn, I can see if you just had an amazing offseason, just killing it in recruiting, and you go into the season and not have that much success. This thing has been going on before the season even started. You're losing coordinators. They're doing an investigation on the head coach. It's just every bad thing that can go wrong with this football program, it has. And then now they're following up with terrible football play on Saturdays. And though that creates a recipe for, people not to really, believe in this team, believe in this program. They're going to probably want to go in a different direction. Auburn's not afraid to move on from head coaches. And so for LSU, you can't let this one get away. I mean, this is, to me, seems like a layup for you. You got a person on their knees. They're about to be on the ground. Like, you got to keep them there. And I think this is a great avenue for you to kind of put the nail in Auburn this Saturday.
I think that's well said. I think, and again, as I said to open this segment, like tomorrow and Friday, we'll get into what Auburn's offensive line's like, who ran for what against them, what to look like from Tanks Big C, what's the play calling like with Ashford. Okay, they got a secondary guy back. What does that look like? How does it match up with – and we'll do all that over the next 2 days. All of that, to me, is secondary to right now thinking if you can punch them in the mouth and you can get up 2 or 3 scores, you can turn that stadium into a church. Like, you can just make it silent and dead and boring, and you can break the spirit of the Auburn football program, right there on Saturday night. But I still believe, as we say that, and we say they barely beat San Jose State, and they got embarrassed by Penn State, and they were terrible against Missouri and all that stuff, you let Tank Bixby run out the back door for a 75-yard touchdown, and then you throw a pick of the first one of the year, and you let them get up 14-0, and they start doing the pom-poms and thinking about Toomer's corner. Like, you got a fight on your hands for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Right out of the chute. It's got to come quick.
Yeah, it definitely has. This is a perfect opportunity. And I think, that's probably been getting drilled in Jaden's head, drilled in the offense's head because, sometimes you can't come back in the fourth quarter. Sometimes it's too little, too late, especially when you're on the road in hostile environments. Obviously, in that Mississippi State game, you had the home crowd behind you, able to get some of that home momentum. But on the road, sometimes that's just a lot more difficult to do, especially in that stadium, because if they're in that game, they haven't lost an SEC game. So it's going to be pumping, man. So you got to put those guys away early. And I think, if you do that, it's going to make it very, very difficult for that Auburn offense to come back because I don't just think they can't pass the ball consistently enough to do that. So you get up on a lead, it's going to be very difficult for them to win that game.
That is the point. And as we sit here and start thinking about it, you're going, oh, man, if they can just get by this mediocre Auburn team, just get by this team, next Saturday's going to be really fun. Now, players, y'all go worry about Auburn. But for us, we do the talking around here. We can just get by this one. The Tennessee game will be a lot of fun. Looking for a John Deere here in Baton Rouge or in Louisiana, Sunshine Quality Solutions is your stop. We'll come back. Jeremy's boy is cranky. He's mad. We got to understand why. That finishes out hour 1. It's Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Always happy to tell you about Reliable Roofing and Construction. Look, this happened to me this week, so it's going to happen to a lot of people in Louisiana. There are insurance carriers that are pulling out of the state, and if you have to have insurance coverage replaced, that new carrier is going to want to inspect your roof, and if your roof is not up to standard, they're not going to insure you either. So if you're running into some trouble trying to get insurance on your home, whether it's a new home or yours that you have a policy in place right now, Reliable Roofing and Construction can help you out. They can give you an inspection. They can do a repair. They can do a new roof over at Reliable Roofing and Construction.
Yeah, so happy to tell you guys about Reliable Roofing, a family-run, owned, and operated residential roofing company. They've been in business since 2008 with over 30 years of roofing experience.
Well, how do I look at their work? That's easy. Go to reliableroofingbr.com. They've got pictures of before and after all over the website. Best shingle options, highest quality shingles, and, of course, that 5-year labor warranty. Reliable Roofing and Construction. Check out the website, reliableroofingbr.com.
This week on dropbiscuit.com or wherever you listen to podcasts is our new series, Pops, the Louis Armstrong story. Pops is brought to you by New Orleans & Company. Check out neworleans.com and come visit New Orleans.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off MSRP on a new 2021 Ford F-150. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your
On Thursdays, OTB. You sound like you're from London. How can the Saints look to win across the pond? And our guy, Southeastern head coach Frank Selfo, stops by. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Opening hour on Wednesday brought to you by Sunshine Quality Solutions, your Louisiana John Deere dealer located on Airline Highway. Need new John Deere equipment, used equipment, parts, service. You can do it all at Sunshine Quality Solutions. The website is sunequip.com. You can browse sunequip.com. Got their inventory. You can order parts or even get some tips for self-repair. Let me tell you who will not be doing any self-repair. That is me. But if you're capable, qualified, sunequip.com has got you covered. Jeremy. Your guy is not in a good mood. He's trying to send a message to his constituents in Oxford. They got a big game coming up this weekend against Kentucky. But apparently Lane got to the mic yesterday and was not enthused with the environment at Vaught Hemingway thus far.
When you come back out and you run out the tunnel and it looks like, a high school game playing in a college stadium, you can't let that affect you. I mean, there's psychology to that, obviously. There's a home field advantage for a reason. And, when it goes the other way, you kind of have that feeling, that, man, are we still really playing in a game here? the players have to fight that. So again, we use that as a learning lesson for our guys. So if that's the case, that's the case. But I mean, I'm worried about what I can control. I've tried social media in here for 2 years, so we'll worry about what we can control, and that's getting our players ready to play.
Yeesh.
My favorite 2 words. He gone. But no, seriously, I was joking during the break, like, okay, maybe Denbrock takes a head coaching job.
Yeah, Lane leaves to be an offensive coordinator. I got a big picture of that.
No, I'm dreaming, but yeah, it's crazy.
What he's talking about there is they were up 35-17 on Tulsa in the second half, so everybody left to go to the square because that's what you do. You go back to the Grove and you go back to the square, and you don't care about the second half against Tulsa. And it's not unique to Ole Miss. There's a lot of places that are not exactly full after halftime. But all of a sudden, Tulsa came out there and kicked a field goal and then scored a touchdown, and they've got this thing to 8 points, and Ole Miss didn't score in the second half. And he's saying, look, we scored 28 points in the second quarter, and then we came out and it looked like a high school game. He's trying to get his crowd fired up for Kentucky, and it will be a good crowd against Kentucky, but it's not a great look for Ole Miss, to be clear.
No, it's not, and I just don't see Lane being there for a while, having that long 10-year tenure there and just, fighting for the great state of Mississippi. I just don't see it. I thought, when that job opened up, it was a great hire for Ole Miss, but I think if anyone knows Lane, he's going to look for the bigger and better thing. And I just, when you got stuff like this happen as a head coach, there's just better places to be. You don't have to worry about that at so many schools in this country. And so, yeah, he's done a phenomenal job with that program to have that team ranked back-to-back years the way he has. But, the tea leaves are saying, man, like, I just don't know how long he lasts there as a head coach.
I got some more Ole Miss updates. Y'all, by this point, know my standing on the Grove. I think it is the most overrated thing in the entire SEC. I don't think it offers any of what I want in tailgating. You cannot cook. You have to have your drinks hidden in opaque cups. It's really crowded. You can't find anybody. And, oh, by the way, I didn't even realize this, but I just saw it. Grove update. This is from the official Ole Miss Athletics Twitter feed. The Grove will close at 6:30 p.m. on Saturday. Not that everybody's got to hang out on campus all day. If you got other things to do after the 11 o'clock kickoff and the game's over at 2:30 and you want to pack it up and head back to Memphis or Jackson or wherever you're going, awesome. But another aspect of the Grove that sucks is they tell you to get out. What if they beat Kentucky and everybody wants to hang out throughout the afternoon and let traffic dissipate? No, get out of the Grove.
Oh, man.
This place doesn't offer anything I want in tailgating.
No, it's bad. And look, you've been there before. I'm like, that's one of the experiences that I got so much hype about. All of my buddies from high school, fans, some guys I went to college with, yeah, man, we're going to the Grove. Yeah, the Grove. And I'm like, and listen to you, I'm like, no, I'm not going to the Grove.
The answer is no.
It sounds terrible. It sounds miserable.
So the square is a ton of fun. The library in my younger days was a blast to go to, a huge bar that's awesome. I think their baseball weekends are phenomenal. That stadium, the environment they create is great. There's so many great things about Oxford and Ole Miss. The Grove is just not one of them. I would prefer to be off the Grove somewhere where I might be able to have a barbecue pit or a jambalaya pot and maybe have a canned beer and not have to hide it somewhere. Like there's such an emphasis on the fact that you have to put your drinks in cups that they do a solo cup race on the baseball field.
What?
Like that's part of the identity of the school. They have one of their SB Nation sites is called Red Cup Rebellion because if you're having a cocktail in the Grove, you got to hide it somewhere. I don't like the Grove.
No, that's
and now they're telling you to get out. They might beat a top 15 team on Saturday trying to celebrate on campus, and they're like, we got to clean up, folks. Peace.
Man. Look, that has to be the worst. Like I can imagine being someone like transfer portal, like you went to one of these schools like Auburn or LSU or something, and you transferred to Ole Miss, and you're like, wait, what's going on here? Like, wait, I gotta put my drink up. Like, wait, we can't even cook right here. Like, what's going on here? Now we gotta leave? No, that's not it, man. Yeah, Lane's gone. I just don't see him. He's out of there.
It'd have to be a really good job for him to leave. They pay him pretty
Auburn?
good at Ole Miss. Oh, that's a really interesting point. Really interesting point.
That's a
wow.
nice little pay raise too, I would say.
We could do a whole segment on that. That is a fascinating thought by Jeremy Hill there. So we'll let that ruminate a little bit. Maybe that's a conversation for next week. If LSU takes care of their business, Harsin gets canned, yellow fellow pays the buyout, and we say, hey, Lane, got an interstate and runs right over from Oxford to Auburn. Got to get in Nick's backyard. I don't think that'll bother him.
I think he would embrace that after all those tongue lashings he took from Nick. I think he wouldn't mind that at all.
We'll give our SEC Power Rankings coming up in hour number 2 at 2:30. Got some NFL quarterback thoughts at 2:15, and we'll start the hour coming up here at 2 o'clock with some over-under on Auburn and LSU, as well as the Saints and the Vikings. If you missed any of our first hour, good stuff. We appreciate Sunshine Equipment, Sunshine Quality Solutions for bringing us the opening hour each and every Wednesday. It's your Louisiana John Deere dealer located on Airline Highway. Talked about LSU's offensive line shuffle with Garrett Dellinger being out, how they're going to handle that. J.D. Pichell of On3 Sports, always one of my favorite segments of the week as we went through the SEC and kind of talked through matchups from last week and this week. He did a great job with that. Talked about the environment that LSU's walking into on Saturday in Auburn. That was at 1:30. So catch it all on demand. It's at 1045ESPN.com on the On Demand tab. Hit that tab, scroll down. We got all the shows on the station. Hit Hunt and Hill. You can catch it all there. Or you can go to Spotify, which I know a lot of people are very, very fond of. Apple Podcasts has got us as well. You can search Hunt and Hill, use that ampersand, and you can find us on all of those, as well as YouTube, where all of our stuff is archived each and every day. Hey, Bayou Ford Chat. We appreciate y'all for hanging out. Throw us a like if you would. A lot of commentary going on in there. Catch all our stuff on demand. We'll be back after Sports Center with a loaded hour number 2. Hope your work Wednesday is going quite nicely. Gorgeous down here in South Louisiana for the first time in quite some time. Sports Center's coming up. We'll finish up with hour 2. It's Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off MSRP on a new 2021 Ford F-150. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When I was a boy, I spent my days climbing trees, catching fish. Barefoot in the river I walked, listening to crickets, counting stars. This was home. After my stroke, I wondered if I'd make it back to the people and places I love. But I got the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Your card matters. Your home does too.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. One day after temporarily arriving in South Florida because of the threat of Hurricane Ian, the Buccaneers held their first practice at the Dolphins training complex today. As of now, the Bucs are still scheduled to host the Chiefs on Sunday night. If the game has to be moved, it will be relocated to Minneapolis. The Bills added some much-needed depth at cornerback, signing veteran Xavier Rhodes to the team's practice squad. Buffalo's secondary pretty banged up, presenting a huge challenge for a team with Super Bowl aspirations, notes Canty and Carlin co-host Chris Canty.
The Buffalo Bills championship hopes have taken a bit of a hit because of some of these injuries. I mean, the secondary was one of the areas of the team that you thought was a strength. Yep. And now it feels like it's a bit of a weakness, Carlin, especially with those two young safeties, Damar Hamlin and Jaquan Johnson. They weren't up for the task on this past week against the Miami Dolphins.
Chris Canty on Greeny. Jets quarterback Zach Wilson out the first 3 games of the season with a knee injury, has been medically cleared and will start Sunday against the Steelers. Baseball, Astros slugger Yordan Alvarez is day-to-day with a left ankle issue.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
1, 2, 3. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hope your Wednesday is getting along nicely. Hour 2 of Hunt and Hill. Locked and loaded. We'll have our power rankings coming up in 30 minutes. I got some takes at 2:30 for my power rankings. Saturday was a little iffy. Let's just say that. And we'll get to the Florida coast. And there's a possibility that could send some significant rain into Auburn, Alabama, Saturday afternoon and evening. We'll see where it moves, how strong it is, how quickly it moves. We know about hurricanes around here and what their unpredictability can be. But inches of rain, 2 on Saturday for Auburn, Alabama.
2. What's it? Category 3 right now?
It's going to be a 5 in no time. It was 1 mile per hour short of 5 when we came on the air.
I'll take the over there. Give me the over. I'll hammer the over there. Right. That sounds healthy right there. I think you can definitely blast right past that 2 inches with that much wind force and that big old hurricane eye. Yeah, give me the 2 inches over.
Seem to remember you playing a game against Auburn in the rain. Yep. What is it like out there if it's sloppy? It's
running back heaven. I'll tell you that now. You got to run the crap out of the ball. Unless your quarterback just has really big hands. Very difficult to keep a hold of that thing. And, every coach that I've been a part of, you got to go through it, especially during that week. You're going to have buckets on the field, and you're going to be bouncing the ball into the buckets every time you snap it, just trying to get used to dealing with a wet ball. So, yeah, unless you got big hands, it's something that you definitely got to pay attention to because it gets really, really sick, especially those brand-new footballs.
It's running back heaven in the sense that you're going to get the ball a lot. Is it running back heaven in the sense of running the ball? I mean, like, can you?
Yes, you're just slippery. Like, you're slippery. Those little arm tackles where you can kind of grip someone, you're just sliding off, the little leg tackles, everything's sliding. It's just way harder to get a hold of somebody when it's raining, like especially cats and dogs. And so, yeah, like I said, it's a running back dreams. You got to be a little muddy, might get some mud in the eyes, but other than that, it's heaven for a running back.
Is LSU's offensive line ready to run the ball 37 times?
I hope so, man. Looking at that Auburn rush defense, it's just not very good. I just don't think those guys are the world beaters that we've seen Auburn kind of have up front. especially kind of if you look at their history with getting defensive linemen. So I think with the emergence of Kane, obviously I don't know, haven't got an update on Goodwin yet, but
Day to day, I would not expect him out there, but we'll see.
yeah, so with Kane being out there, and then I still want to see Emery out there a little bit, and then JD5, we already know what he's going to do in the run game. I think they definitely can.
All right, I've got a number here. Jaden Daniels' rush attempts, that could be called runs or just scramble, 10.5.
I'll take the over. I'll take the over in that. I think they're definitely – I can see them calling at least 4 or 5 design quarterback runs. If he drops back 30 times, he's going to pull it down maybe 5 or 6 more times. So it's a good number, but I'll take the over on that one.
If we're sticking with this process, Tank Bixby carries 17.5.
Oh, under. Look, I don't – For one, I think, the rush defense is very, very good. I just haven't seen them, any running back, just totally just have their way with this defense this year. I know you're playing Mississippi State. They're not probably the greatest run team you've ever seen. And even Florida State, just not the greatest rush attack you've seen. But still, I think the rush defense has been, phenomenal all year. And obviously, they had a game where they gave them 9 carries. And so it's just hard for me to say they're going to switch that around unless they're going to run it down LSU's throat, and then they're going to feed Tank Bixby all game. I just don't see that right now. Could happen, maybe, but no, I'm going to take the under in that situation.
Look, they were much maligned, and rightfully so, for allowing Tank Bixby 9 carries in the Penn State game. Just simply did not give him the football enough. They tried in the game on Saturday to run the ball, and they couldn't. And, I mean, eventually you're banging your head up against a wall if you, just because we're supposed to run it, we got a great running back, but if you can't block them, and nobody, literally nobody, watches as much tape on the Southeastern Conference and breaks it down better than Cole Kubelik. And he's on Matt's show every week, and he's an Auburn grad, so that's one of the first ones he's generally going to pop in. If I know anybody, they want to take a look, and especially because he works in Birmingham for Jocks and has to talk about Auburn a lot all week. And his line to Matt was, they couldn't block Missouri. Couldn't block him.
Yeah, no, I think, especially, you're looking at that San Jose State game, you're looking at the Missouri game, you're looking at Penn State, it's like, it's just that running attack isn't what it thought. And I thought for Auburn to have any success this season, it's going to be on the back of Tank Bixby, and he just hadn't had that year that you think one of the best running backs in the SEC would have. And I think that has a lot to do, with that offense, has a lot to do with that offensive line, who I think is not very great. And you look at LSU's strength on defense, it is that defensive line. That's probably their toughest thing to deal with, is how many guys they can rotate in there. And then to me, Wingo's playing out of his mind up the middle. I know the stats don't really show that, but he's a load up the middle, and he's hard to move. And so I just see that being a difficult avenue for Auburn to really have the success they want to have, just running it right at this LSU defense.
And, look, it's Missouri's defensive front. As we do the transitive property, you say, well, Auburn couldn't block Missouri. Maybe Missouri's defensive front is good. Well, ask Kansas State. Kansas State ran for 235 yards on Missouri. Deuce Vaughn ran for 6 yards a carry and 2 touchdowns. He ran for 145 on the day. So I doubt Missouri's run defense is elite, as the kids say. So it's just not great. Auburn quarterbacks who take a snap on Saturday, 1.5.
I'll take the over. I think if Finley's available, I think they definitely put both of those guys in there. Just when you don't have great quarterback play, it's just the worst world to live in. Like I always say, I don't think they love either one of those guys at a high level. And so one of them's not having the best time of his life, going up and down the field, scoring touchdowns. We just haven't seen from this Auburn offense all season. I think that he's going to be on a short leash, and they're going to put the other guy in there. So I think a lot to this over-under is TJ Finley's health. If he is healthy, I think they definitely play 2 quarterbacks.
Points for LSU. Look, against Florida State, you scored 23. Against Mississippi State, you scored 31. New Mexico, you scored 38. I'll put the over-under on LSU points at 30. Do you think LSU can crack 30 in this game?
The rain kind of...
The rain's not guaranteed. It might go east of it, and they might not get a lot of rain. It's not like the eye's going over it, and they're going to see the whole thing all day. It may run through there. It may skirt east. We don't know yet, but it's just something that may be a factor in the game that I wanted to get your thoughts on. But your thoughts, just in terms of Auburn's defense, LSU's offense, 30 points.
I don't know. I said this game's unjinxable, so I'll try to throw a little little superstition there. I'll take the under here. I'll take the under. I don't want to go too crazy here, but Yeah, I just don't think Auburn's very good, man. I hate to keep saying it, but if they do score 30, I would not be shocked at all by that. I mean, that Penn State offense isn't world beaters. I think you saw that. You saw that quarterback play. It's just, yeah, man. I'll take the under on this one. I'll take the under.
All right, we'll shift gears to London, overseas, Saints and Vikings. Over-under for Jameis Winston passing yards. We'll set it at, say, 245.
245. Minnesota. I'll take the under there. I think Minnesota's D-line, especially with Jameis not being mobile at all right now, it seems like he can barely run 20 yards down the field, or better yet, try to extend plays. They got Danielle Hunter. They got Darius Smith coming off that edge. I think that's going to be a tough avenue for him to really do that. You saw, the Eagles offense have a ton of success because Hurts was using his legs and extending plays and quarterback runs and scrambling. Jameis can't do those things, and so I'm going to take the under there.
That number's probably low. Vegas would set it much higher than that. I mean, at Carolina, he threw for 353 last week. I mean, and that he just went under that against Tampa, 236. But, just barely went over it against Atlanta with 269, and that's one where it was all kind of happening for him in the fourth quarter. So that number's probably low, but maybe he doesn't play. So if he doesn't play and you take the over, you're going to hit. The reports out of London today were that he's planning on playing, is what Jameis said. He did not really work out much today, but that was the same case last week on Wednesday. He kind of sat and watched. So I can't imagine flying across overseas with a broken back is super comfortable. That just sounds awful to me. Another one of the 496 reasons I hate these overseas games, but he's there now, so hopefully he can stretch it out and get out there and play.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just, they believe in Jameis. I mean, that's the guy they went with. They brought him back for a reason. I know they kind of made a little flirtation with Russell and Deshaun Watson, but, they ended up going with Jameis, and I think that's who they believe in. That's their guy. And so if he's, able to play, he's cleared to play, he's going to try it out there. I'm probably in the camp that I would probably hold back for a couple weeks, but, he's going to go out there and try to give his best effort to help the Saints win, and we'll kind of see how that kind of plays out.
Here's a good over-under for you. See what you think about it. Fans who know what the hell is going on in this football game over in London, 20,000.
Oh, goodness. Hammer the under, man. Look, that's just it's so bad, man. They have to look. It was so bad. I scored a touchdown in the game, and they had to, make, the most biggest, craziest scenes to, get people excited. It was, fireworks going everywhere, fire, shooting everywhere. I'm like, dude, this is what's going on here? Is this a WWE match? What is going on? It's just they're doing all these weird soccer cheers during the game. It's just
Esther said
no one
singing.
Yeah, no one knows what's going on there. And then you see all these fans with soccer jerseys on. I was like, this is an American football game. We're not playing soccer right now.
Yeah, Goodell is $46 million. Grow the brand.
Yeah.
I think NFL fans generally love this game because it means there's football on at 8:30 in the morning or whatever it is. I just don't like it. I got super cranky when the MLB stopped spring training, sent 2 teams to Japan, let them play 3 games, then came back and played a week more spring training to get over the jet lag, and then started the season once again. I don't like this. I don't think they need to go down to Mexico City. I don't need to play in Germany. I don't need to. None of it. I don't need any of it. But I'm not in charge of growing the brand and creating hundreds of millions of dollars and billions, whatever. It's just play the games in the stadiums where the fans that pay the season tickets and care about the sport want to watch them. I'll lose this battle.
I think the biggest thing that annoyed the crap out of me is that you lose a home game for this. It's
yes.
We lost a home game to go across the pond and tie a football game. That just made me just it's just, oh my goodness, what are we doing? Yeah, no, we need to get rid of this stuff.
They at least have a lot of drinks on the flight home. Is that a thing?
It was just awkward, man. We tied, so it was all right, are we happy? Are we sad? What's going on? And I messed my shoulder up, so I'm just in pain on these painkiller pills. It was just miserable. Get me back home, man. It's just terrible.
I'm out on the whole thing overseas, but whatever. Oh, Citizens Bank poll question of the day. Do you like the NFL plays a couple games overseas every year? Yes or no? If you vote yes, I'm not friends with you for the moment. Let's come back and we'll do some NFL quarterback talk. SEC Power Rankings coming up at 2:30. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile. on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
NFL is back. Our coverage starts Sunday at 10 a.m. with Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday with Jimmy Ott, immediately followed by the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders at noon, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
SEC Power Rankings coming up in 12 minutes. See where we've got the Fighting Tigers of LSU. See where Jeremy's throwing the Ags. Probably under the bus. They just won a game. We'll see what he can do with that. But first, we'll talk a little bit of NFL history. ESPN.com got a story out, Jeremy, that's ranking the top 2 quarterbacks in a draft class, best ones ever. And we'll do a little blind radio here. I haven't looked at it. But my first thought was that Dan Marino and John Elway were pretty good. And I would think that would probably be among the best of the best.
Yeah, no, that definitely got the number 1 spot. And to me, it was fascinating when you think about some of the greatest quarterbacks ever. Most of them had another guy in their same class that was pretty much just as good, or if not better, in the same class. So, yeah, you got the number 1 pair right. Those two were definitely one of the best ever.
I think in this top 5 that we'll do, look, I saw a shootout in week 1 of this year, so I'm thinking Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota.
Oh, my God.
No? Not good?
I don't think they cracked the top 5. No.
RG3 and Andrew Luck are doing some good commercials and stuff.
No? I don't think they cracked the top 10. I don't bring it at the top 20.
That Eli Roethlisberger class is really good. I would think that would be in there as well.
They got the number 2 spot.
They got the number 2 spot. That's pretty salty. Trying to think of like top picks and who would have gone.
I'll give you a hint for this one. Both of these guys are playing right now. That's taking the number 3 spot in the NFL right now.
I don't know that these guys. I don't know these guys are in the same class, but they're really good and they're older. I'm gonna go with Stafford and Russell Wilson.
Did not make it. I don't know
if that's the same draft class.
Hint over there.
Oh, we looking up? Lamar, Lamar, and Josh Allen. That is pretty salty, and it's so funny because we spend a month before the draft, and all ESPN talks about is what these quarterbacks are going to do, and you know the names, and sometimes they're awesome, and sometimes they can't do squat. I mean, you got Mitch in there, and then like Deshaun Watson comes right after, and then all the people in Chicago just cry and cry and cry. I mean, because that's Deshaun and Mahomes are the same class. Is that in there?
Top 5. They got the top. So you're missing one. You're missing one here. You're missing one. This one's gonna be very tough.
Give me a decade.
80s. Dominant football in the 80s.
Well, the Niners and the Cowboys are the best teams in the 80s. What was it?
You're online. You're online with that one.
Steve Young and Troy Aikman were in the same class?
Before Steve.
Oh, Montana?
Yes. You got to think about who's the other quarterback. Super Bowl winning quarterback in that class with Joe Montana.
With Joe, the people are going to go nuts because they're going to know that. Years later. It's just a little bit past me. It's right before I was born.
You know the name. Everyone knows the name.
Yeah, sure, I know the name.
I'll give you another hint. He calls games on Sundays. CBS.
I'm just. I can't. I mean, like, I can't. All I can think of. All I got in my head is Phil Simms. Is that it?
There we go. There we go. There we go.
On the radio.
There we go.
Yeah, so for me, as a young person, there's a lot of people a lot older that are listening that have a better frame of reference for Phil Simms than me. I don't think of him as an all-time great quarterback. I think of him as a Super Bowl winning quarterback, obviously. But maybe I underestimate just how statistically good he was, if in fact he was. But that's interesting that Phil Simms, there's got to be a class that's got somebody better than Phil Simms. Yeah. Although we measure quarterbacks so much by how many Super Bowls they win that I guess that's
we can run through some other duos that they have in here. Saints own got in the mix there. Drew Brees. Who do you think Drew Brees was paired with?
Oh man.
Say you're probably the fastest quarterback you ever seen. I'll give you a hint.
Fastest John Rice Plumlee, Ole Miss Rebels. I'll have nightmares of John Rice Plumlee running. I mean, he wasn't in the same. No, that's not him. Oh, Michael Vick.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
For some reason, when you said that Randall Cunningham, I was like, well, that wasn't Drew Brees. That was way before him. Mike Vick and Brees. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a more incredible skill set in the history of the National Football League than Michael Vick. When you look at some of those runs he had where he's outrunning defensive players like that, and then the ridiculous arm strength where he could literally throw the ball 80 yards. I mean, there may not have been a more gifted quarterback to ever play.
Look, I still remember that commercial. I still think it's real to this day where he's like standing on the 10-yard line and just chunks the ball out of the stadium. I'm like, yeah, I could see Vic doing
Vic
that.
Could do it.
He had a cannon strapped to his arm. But yeah, he was.
Was anybody, and we're just totally off the rails here, was anybody on those Virginia Tech teams that he was on that ended up getting to the Sugar Bowl? Like,
no. It was Cam Newton all over again.
Yeah, it's a Cam Newton situation where you got one guy who's just so good, which actually brings into effect even more so how atrocious those Texas Tech teams must have been that Mahomes was on. Because to have a guy that's that good and that talented in what should be a system where he would go nuts, and he did, to not be able to do squat in ever while he was there is just terrible.
Yeah, no, that was bad. I still remember that Baker Mayfield game. I think what was it 20 touchdowns between the both.
Somebody threw for 700 yards.
Yeah, it was just absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, man, it's crazy at the college level when you have a quarterback that talented. Like, they can carry you, man. Like, it's not that way on the next level.
All right, I got the box score from that Baker and Mayfield.
Yeah, I know.
It was 66-59 was the final.
Goodness.
Baker.
Don't tell me how bad it was.
Baker's stat line was just incredible. Mahomes is laugh out loud funny. Baker's stat line was 27 of 36 for 545 and 7 touchdowns with no picks.
Jeez.
Mahomes 52 of 88.
88 passes.
For 734 and 5 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes in one game produced a stat line of a Les Miles quarterback for the season. Mahomes did it in one game. 88 passes, yeah, that's October for the Les team. I mean,
that's insane. That's air raid. Talk about air raid offense. Yeah, that's air raid at the highest level. That little leech tree that's just trickling down.
Joe
right down
Mixon
there.
was the running back that day for Oklahoma.
He probably went off
D.D.
too.
Westbrook. Yeah, Joe Mixon had.
He probably
Joe
went
Mixon
off.
had 263.
Oh my! What was the total offense in there? I want to know the total.
I gotta get to the. Let's see. I got the box score here. Oh, team stats. There we go. All right. Total offense.
Oh my goodness.
Total yards. Oklahoma. They tied and they had the exact same total yards.
No way.
854.
So 1,600.
1,700 yards. 1,708 yards.
Oh my God. And no wonder that people say the Big 12. I think it was safe to say Big 12. They don't play any defense, right?
Well, at that point, it was defense optional. It wasn't optional. You could not play it. It was disallowed.
Like, could you even play that well in practice against a scout team? Like that's like scout.
They
teams.
only threw one interception between the two of them.
That's just absolutely insane.
That's
just crazy. Oh man,
I could spend an hour on that box score. Somebody needs to do a 30 for 30 on this game. Like
Yes.
no one even cares about it because that made Texas Tech 3-4 on the year, and that made Oklahoma 5-2. They had already lost 2 games on the year. So that game is, I guess, forgotten in history unless you're just a stats nerd who wants to look up a game where they had 1,700 yards of total offense in Texas Tech. If Taylor Reyna is listening to this show right now, he's a salesperson here. That's an embarrassment for your school to give up 66 points like that.
Speaking of Texas Tech, did you hear their head coach after? And we're totally off the rails, by the way.
Yeah,
Sorry
we
about
are.
that.
That's all right. We're going to do power rankings here in a second.
Yeah, but did you hear their coach after the game against Texas?
I think we talked about this off the air, but I don't even remember what he said.
He's like, we're not worried about Texas. The Big 12 runs through Lubbock.
Okay,
The whole
that's excellent.
Okay, buddy.
That's superb. Way to think that way. That's good. That's very good. Okay.
Oh,
all right.
man.
Well, that'll do it for this segment. We'll come back. We got power rankings coming at you. It's a Wednesday edition of Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford. Check out the inventory, BayouFord.com. Explorers, Expeditions, F-150s, F-250s, even the Focus, the Fusion. They got it all there at Bayou Ford, and it's right there on the website at BayouFord.com. Don't settle. The inventories are a little bit more robust than they were 6 months ago. However, even if what you want is not on the lot, they can customize that car for you and turn it around in 2 to 3 months. Let them put you in exactly the car that you want to drive. And if you're not happy with the car that you're in right now or just think you might want to make a change, they got a great buyback program over there at Bayou Ford. They will buy your vehicle from you to set you up to purchase something new from Bayou Ford.
Yeah, head over to BayouFord.com. They have the all-new 2022 Ford Expedition Timberline. It has tinted windows, a ready-to-lift 3 kit on there. Also, all-new 2021 Ford F-150. They're getting $14,000 off MSRP, including the Black Widow edition.
1 million mile powertrain warranty with every single new car purchase over there at Bayou Ford. The website's BayouFord.com. Bayou Ford, they're going to do right by you.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
soffrire un caffè. Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance. This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. Brian Kelly updates LSU's preparation for Auburn, and we'll head to London to get updates on the Saints and Vikings. Join us for Wednesday's AFR, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, weekly occurrence here, Hunt and Hill. We go through our SEC power rankings 1 through 14. Mine are right, Jeremy's are wrong, and that's how we approach things. But I'll allow Jeremy to go first with his 1 through 4. What do you think, sir?
All right, yeah, I'll shoot it out there for you, too. I'm thinking a little different 1 through 4 from last week from myself. But number 1, I went with the Georgia Bulldogs. Yes. And I know it's probably, gave up some points last week. Big deal. But, man, that roster is just way too talented. And I'm sure it's probably hard to get up for Kent State, especially when you're at home. So
Golden Flashes.
Yeah.
Fighting Nick Saban.
Yeah, the fighting Julian Edelman's, too. Yeah. So, I'm going to go with Georgia there. And, 2, got to shock you here a little bit. Going with the hype train, baby. I'm going with the Tennessee Vols. Big time win for the program. You can't lose to Florida at home. Yet we don't need anyone in Baton Rouge pushing Napier. So yeah, Tennessee big time win. Love that offense. Love what they got going.
What about their defense?
Can we talk about number 3? Oh yeah, let's go to number 3. Yeah, number three, Alabama. Yeah, Alabama. Yeah, blah blah blah. Do I have to talk about Alabama?
No, you don't. You don't have to talk about them at all.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we'll go to number 4. Kentucky. I got Kentucky at 4. Sneaky good team to me this year. They're well coached. Will Levis is playing well. Last week, 18 for 26, 300 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. I know it's against Northern Illinois, but he's been playing well all season. You see why, some of the people in the NFL are starting to create a little, Will Levis love. So he's going to have to cut back on the mayo and coffee for me, but I think he's been playing good football this season.
All right, I'll go 1 through 4 here. I start with Georgia. My notes on Georgia, it just has 2 words written here on the. It just says Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
That guy's a monster.
Yeah, he's insane.
He's making one-handed fade route catches. He's running 75-yard touchdowns. I don't know what you're supposed to do against it. He's a creative player. He's a joke. Yeah. They're really good. I don't care about the Kent State game at all. I do have Bama number 2. I'm starting to buy in a little bit with the fact that they're just not what they were at a certain point. It doesn't mean they can't get better. It doesn't mean they don't have the best player in the country at quarterback win the Heisman. It doesn't mean they're not going to win the national championship. But you start looking back at the road games they've played. They lost at at Texas A&M last year. They were down to the wire against Florida last year. Last year, even this year, they go to Texas and they're struggling. Auburn, they were on the ropes on the road last year. Like they haven't been as dominant. And so we'll see what they got this week. I'm very curious to see what Arkansas can do. That number at 17.5 is not one I'm excited about picking on Friday, quite honestly, because usually we just toss Alabama and go with it. I'm not certain about Alabama at this point. I do think they're the second best team in the league. I've got Tennessee at number 3. Hendon Hooker is the front runner for the Heisman Trophy, in my opinion, right now. 39 touchdowns, 3 picks. He ran for 100 yards over the weekend. He's incredible at running that offense. And, he was good at Virginia Tech. I never watched a snap of it, apparently. Wanted to get out of there. Don't know what. It's a bit of a Max – well, no, it's not. But a little bit of a Max Johnson, Haynes King type deal where what were you looking at, Coach? Why do we start this guy? Why did Milton start last year? I don't know. They found Hooker. He's been incredible because of that. They're number 3. And right here, number 4, this will be a trend a little bit with 4 teams in these rankings. I don't necessarily put any stock into the final result of 2 of the SEC games last week. And for that reason, I've got Arkansas at number 4. I know they lost to Texas A&M, but they didn't really lose. They got a fluke play where the ball got knocked out at the 4-yard line and run back 100 yards. And then they come back and miss a field goal at the end. They outplayed A&M from start to finish in that game, no question about it. I think they're a pretty good team. They're second in the conference in rush offense. They're 4th in the conference in run defense. They have the most sacks in the league, and that's with playing A&M and Cincinnati and South Carolina. Like, they've played real teams. It hadn't been all powder puffs for Arkansas, and they're statistically still among the best of the league in a lot of important categories. I've got Arkansas at 4.
All right, not too mad at that. And we all know Jimmy Ott, the Ott father.
Yeah.
He has the lock of the week. I'm going to give you guys the shock of the week. We got the Aggies at 5, man.
I mean, this guy's off the rails, folks.
We got the Aggies at 5.
He's making 9-point swings left and right.
We got the look, man. There's always a method to my madness. So last week I tried to put the Aggies under the dirt, tried to disrespect them. Now it's time to put the pressure back on the Aggies. Okay. They're the 5th best team in the SEC. Okay. Big time win against Arkansas. Okay. Great defense. They got A-Chain running the ball. Had 100 yards last week. Got Jimbo, national championship coach. Yeah. Wow. The Aggies. Yeah.
6, please. 6, please.
6. We got Arkansas. Obviously that turnover from KJ last week, that was just a tough one. I think that game just goes totally different if he doesn't turn that ball over and just gifts him a free 7 points the other way. So yeah, I got Arkansas at 6. 7. Here we go, Tigers, man. We're here. We're top 10. We're getting up there.
Gotta love playing New Mexico, baby.
Look, we're inching up week by week, brick by bricks, day by day. Love the play from Jaden Daniels last week. Got Noah Kane going in the run game, and that defense, man, is sneaky good. Defense is sneaky good. So I got LSU up at 7. 8, I got Ole Miss. Not playing the toughest schedule this year, but that rush attack is just, you're gonna have to deal with that rushing attack, and we all know what Lane can do calling plays. And so yeah, I got Ole Miss at 8.
All right, number 5, I've got Kentucky. They are the inverse of what we thought they are. They're not getting in the backfield defensively. They can't run the football. Levis is throwing it all over the place, averaging 296 yards per game. So they're not what we thought they were, but Stoops has kind of adapted, and they're trying to win games that way, and certainly got a nice win over Florida, and we'll see what they've got here in Oxford coming up this week, and that's where number 6 comes in. I've got the Rebs. Show me something this week, Rebs. I know you hadn't played anybody, but you're running the ball really well. You have 2 talented running backs, and we think that they've gotten a little bit better defensively, so you should have a pretty good environment despite what Lane was complaining about yesterday. Excuse me. And, show me something here, Ole Miss. You had LSU at 7. I've got LSU at 7.
Okay.
Point can be made that LSU is playing fairly complete football at this point. I don't think anything they do is great, and maybe the defense is great, but I'm going to need to see it against a team that's not totally one-dimensional in Mississippi State, or an FCS team, or New Mexico, who's one of the worst offenses in the country. So you'll have your chance in 2 weeks to play a Tennessee team that's really, really good. And if LSU goes out and forces a pick from Hooker and holds them to 21 points, then we'll really think that defense has got something. But I think I've got LSU at 7 right now. I've got Florida at 8. They are only better than Vanderbilt in terms of total defense to this point in the SEC. Now, they've played Utah, who's got a veteran quarterback. They've played Kentucky, who's got a veteran quarterback. They played Tennessee, who's got an awesome quarterback. So you can't put everything on stats right now, but their defense has not been awesome to this point, and the passing game has been real bumpy if they're not playing Tennessee's secondary that's been kind of shredded a little bit. in their early season. So got some questions about Florida, but that's my 5 through 8: Kentucky, Ole Miss, LSU, and Florida.
Okay, here. So 9, I went Mississippi State for 9. To me, that's kind of the Will Rogers I was expecting to see. 6 touchdown passes, well over 400 yards. Got to make sure they got to 50 pass attempts in that football game. And I know it's just against Bowling Green, but still, that offense, that's kind of the offense I expect from Mississippi State. So got them at 9 because of the quarterback play. And then 10, I got Florida. Just Anthony Richardson, which version are you going to get? Are you going to get the Utah game version? It seems like the bigger the game, he steps up and plays big. Yeah. You play somebody that's not too great, then you kind of never know what you're going to get. But like you said, I'm really worried about that defense. Normally when you think of Florida, you think of just dominant defenses that's going to keep you in the game, and they find ways to win. But that defense isn't very good. So for Florida, I got them at 10. 11, I wish I could put them a lot lower, but Auburn, that's just the teams below them aren't very good either.
You can put them 3 spots lower.
Yeah, I mean, you can make that case. I wouldn't be mad at anyone making that case, but when you're talking about what can go wrong, will go wrong, that's just kind of been Auburn football since the offseason started.
Speaking of that, I'll just break in with breaking news. Tom Green, who covers Auburn, according to a source, Auburn quarterback T.J. Finley dealing with a grade 2 AC sprain in his right shoulder. He will not play this weekend against LSU, so it'll be Robbie Ashford for Auburn against LSU. So carry on with your anything that can go wrong will go wrong for Auburn football.
Yeah, just right in line with it, right in line with the universe. All right, yeah, should have hammered that under 2 earlier, by the way. Sheesh, darn it. But Auburn at 11, we know they're just everything just not great with that team. They can't stop the run. They don't have a pass attack. The quarterbacks aren't very good. They're not getting Bigsby going. And they lost to Missouri. You know what? They lost. Can we go back in the record books and change that to a loss? Because they definitely lost that game. But 12, I got South Carolina. Rattler, when you get a Heisman candidate, quote unquote, in the transfer portal, sometimes get the fan base rolling a little bit, but he just has played well this year. And for Beamer, I thought, they'd have a little more progression. They had some scrappy wins last year, but this year just not what I kind of expect. I expected a little more from the South Carolina football team, and so that they're at 12, and then 13. It's so great not to see the Doors in last place anymore. Like I just thought they'd be in 14th forever, but we got the Doors at 13.
Oh, wait
man.
a second.
We got the Doors at 13, man. They had to play Bama last week. I think Bama would do that to just about every team that way. What do you think they'd do to Missouri if Alabama played Missouri?
Didn't do that to Texas.
Oh man, they're on the road. But yeah, I got the Doors at 13, and then my Wayne Drinkwitz, man. I just do we got
Missouri
like a time,
at 14?
Yeah, do we have like a hourglass where you kind of flip and the sand runs down? Like I think that's what Drink was going. Once that sand kind of goes to the bottom, he's just going to be out of there. And yeah, I got Missouri last, man. Missouri's just bad.
All right, number 9, I've got Mississippi State. They are what they are. They're just going to be right there, 9, 10 the rest of the way. They'll get a win here, there. Hopefully, it's this weekend against Texas A&M. But I've got Mississippi State at 9. At 10, I've got A&M. I know they just beat Arkansas. I know they beat Miami, and that sounds all well and good. I'm not impressed with almost anything that they do. I think their win was a total fluke against Arkansas, like I said, when I ranked Arkansas 4th. They gave up 244 yards on the ground on that game. A&M's run defense is 12th in the league. Their pass offense is 108th out of 131 teams in college football. They just lost their best wide receiver. All they've got is turn around and hand the ball to Devon Achane. That's the whole team. They've got App State ran it on them. Miami ran it on it. Arkansas ran it on them. Their DBs are pretty good, especially at safety, and they've got a really good running back. Other than that, I don't like really anything that I see from A&M, so I've got them at 10. At 11, I've got South Carolina. They got well against Charlotte. Georgia's in the rearview mirror. Tough trip to Arkansas is in the rearview mirror. What can you do from here moving forward? Can you win some games against some teams that aren't quite as good? We'll see from South Carolina. I got them at 11. I've got Missouri at 12. They're terrible, but they went on the road at Auburn and should have won the football game. It was a fluke in every way that they didn't. Dropping the football, missing chip shot field goals. They should have won the game, which is why I've got Auburn at 13. Look, sorry, Auburn, but you're looking at a scoring offense that's 13th in the SEC, a run offense that's 10th in the SEC. Thought you're supposed to be really good at that. Pass offense that's 12th in the SEC. Everything they do on offense is bad, and they're not stopping the run. I think Auburn's in shambles. I've got them at 13, but they're not going to unseat the GOAT, the greatest cellar dweller in SEC history, the Vanderbilt Commodores. I don't have a nugget for you on Vanderbilt other than that they're Vanderbilt, so they're 14th until further notice. I'll let Coach Lee know you win a game in conference play, I will potentially look at the option of moving you from 14. But if you're going to go into multi-year runs where you never win a game, you stay at 14, and that's where we are with the Doors, so they stay at 14. I'll run through mine once again. Georgia, number 1 in the league. Bama, 2. Tennessee Vols, 3. Arkansas, number 4. Kentucky, 5. Ole Miss, 6. The Fighting Tigers of LSU inching up. I had LSU at like 11 a couple of weeks ago. Got LSU now up at number 7. Florida at 8. Mississippi State, 9. Texas A&M, 10. South Carolina, 11. Missouri, 12. Auburn, 13. And Vanderbilt, 14.
Alrighty, here I had Georgia 1, Tennessee 2, Bama 3, Kentucky 4. The Aggies, man, they beat Arkansas. I had them at 5, 6, Arkansas 7, my Fighting Tigers, 8, Ole Miss, 9, Mississippi State, 10, Florida, 11, Auburn, 12, South Carolina, 13, I had Vanderbilt, and 14, I had my man Drinkwitz, man. We got to get Drinkwitz going, man. It's time's up, man. The Doors are the Doors, so we got to get
Drinkwitz should have won the game on the Plains last week. He did a good job. Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and live questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com. We'll come back and close out a Wednesday edition of Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. This week on dropbiscuit.com or wherever you listen to podcasts is our new series, Pops, the Louis Armstrong story. Pops is brought to you by New Orleans & Company. Check out neworleans.com and come visit New Orleans.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
on Thursday's OTB. You sound like you're from London. How can the Saints look to win across the pond? And our guy, Southeastern head coach Frank Selfo, stops by. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Got a little Mitch Trubisky highlight reel going on up on the TV in here. It's not great.
Not great at all.
Is that a Caddyshack line or Chevy Chase? Because you're not good.
That's straight to the point.
You're not good.
Straight to the
That's
point.
just the way it goes. Speaking of straight to the point, let's go straight to take it or leave it. I will start. Pass rusher Myles Garrett was involved in a single car crash. His vehicle went off the side of the road and flipped over a couple of times. He did sustain some injuries. The Browns have not, however, ruled him out of Sunday's game. Flipping your car and playing an NFL game 6 days later. Take it or leave it.
I guess I got to take it because something very similar happened to me. We're playing the Steelers my third year. I don't know if anyone's have been a part of black ice on the bridge, but I'm going across the bridge trying to get to Kentucky where I lived, and vehicle just starts spinning and spinning and spinning, and oncoming traffic's coming right at me, and yeah, it was very bad. But that was on Friday night.
Anybody hit the car?
Yeah, my car was totally wrecked. It was in the shop for like 7 months. So yeah, it was totally bad. But I ended up playing the game on Sunday. Wasn't the most fun experience, but found a way to get it done. So they're not ruling them out. Hey, I trust Myles. You can go out there and get it done, man. It's definitely possible.
I have one black ice memory. LSU Kentucky, the Johnny O'Bryant game in the Ice Dome when it froze over, and ESPN had already gotten here, so the show must go on. Well, I lived a mile from campus, so I was like, all right, well, I'll go cover this game. So I'm driving around the lakes, and I'm going real slow. But, I mean, I'm skidding and sliding like crazy. I mean, I'm going like no mile. I'm not even on the gas. And the car's just like slipping and sliding. Well, I got there, and it was fun. Johnny O'Brien started getting buckets. I think Siobhan Coleman was hitting threes in that game. Anthony Hickey getting buckets. And we smoked Kentucky that night in the Ice Bowl.
There you go. All right. In a recent interview on JJ Redick's podcast, Ben Simmons, he stated his disappointment in the criticism he received from Shaquille O'Neal, with him saying he never expected that from an LSU brother. Are you taking or leaving? Shaq has every right to criticize his LSU brother.
I mean, take it in terms of what he does on the basketball court. He's a paid basketball analyst. I mean, he's not criticizing your personal life or what you're wearing to the gym or something. Like, it's you don't shoot and you don't play. You're not out there. I don't. It's Shaq can talk. Like,
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that's something that these NBA players, I know football players can be a little sensitive at times, but it seems like these basketball players, you say anything, I got a chip on my shoulder. The whole world's against me. Dude, you're making $50 million to play basketball. I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be A-okay.
After being held out of the Wednesday practice, Jameis Winston said he's still got every intention of playing in Sunday's game in London against the Vikings. The Saints should go to the Red Rifle. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. I
didn't even think about that flight over there with a broken back. That's
it's brutal. It's brutal. I hope he had a bed, because if not, that's going to be a long, brutal flight. But I think you got to ride with Jameis. The season's just started, but I tell you what, he does this for 2 more weeks. I think the Red Rifle's coming in hot, coming in quick, and you probably won't see much more of Jameis, because I think this is an obviously a rental. I don't think they had big plans for Jameis being the future of this team.
No, they did. Yes, they did.
You think so?
They weren't committed to it, but they certainly had visions that would be it.
Let me ask you this then. So you know the running rate for a starting quarterback in the NFL, right?
I mean, what's the average?
Probably about $38 to $40 million. You think the Saints are going to pay Jameis that? If
they would have liked to if he'd have gone out this year and lit it up. But
okay, all right, well, okay, I guess I can argue that, but I just don't agree. I think they're trying to. There's a reason why they're in the Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson.
There's no doubt about that. But we talked about it. I mean, of the 32 starting quarterbacks, like 24 of them were first-round picks. Like, it's just hard to get one of those.
It's hard to find them. Yeah, it's hard to find. We'll see. Hopefully he plays better. If not, it's going to be whack with wild things going on. You're going to love this last one. Live Golf. They're nearing a deal to buy airtime to broadcast their events on Fox Sports. Hunt Palmer tuning into some Live Golf on Fox Sports. Take it or leave it.
There's no chance. No chance. And you realize what you just said. Live Golf is buying the airtime from
that's
Fox.
backwards.
You know how they pay the SEC, how the Big Ten's getting $1 billion? Liv's paying Fox. Please put us on. Just the biggest losers. They just buy everything. They don't have it. It's just the worst. And it makes me so sad that some of you intelligent people in the Bayou Ford chat continue to go to bat for Greg Norman and Liv. The absolute woke. Bryson put out a stupid video yesterday of him getting all excited for going under a gallery rope. But Liv has no TV revenue because they're paying for it, no ticket revenue because no one goes. They're just paying everyone everything. There's no sponsors, no nothing. It's just how much money can we spend to sports wash this Saudi reputation? It's remarkable. I'm not watching a shot of it, ever. You can take that to the bank. All right, that's going to do it for a Wednesday edition of Hunt and Hill. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, all of it, all right there. We open talking LSU offensive line shuffle. Garrett Dellinger is out. J.D. Pichell of On 3 Sports with us at 1:15. Little LSU Auburn environment talk at 1:30, and then Lane fussing about the Ole Miss fans, and I had more negative things to say about the Grove. The end of hour number 1. Over/under to kick off hour number 2. Some NFL quarterback talk and SEC power rankings, as always, on Wednesday. Jimmy Ott's Game Time coming to you 6 to 8 this evening. Matt Moscone about to drive you home on After Further You. Big show tomorrow talking LSU and Auburn with Jason Caldwell of Inside the Auburn Tigers. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. We're back tomorrow. It's Hunt and Hill.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized